Hi everyone, welcome into Drums by Liz. This is a tune I wrote about 20 years ago. Kind of a little shortened version, but it gave you a little insight into a little march style thing that I would do with my drum group, performance group, Drums Unlimited. There's the old street sign there in the background, okay? I used to have a studio on Main Street in East Aurora, New York, for, boy, probably 20 years or so, a little bit longer. And this is a way I would take my students out in public and get them valuable performance experience, okay? I would write all of the music. We had roughly about, I don't know, hour and a half to 2 hour drum show that we could put on. We played for many functions throughout Western New York. And our biggest highlight was when we were invited to play at the International Drum Corps competition, okay? And I don't say we were invited, but I got in contact with Jack Gaylord Jr. Oh, such a wonderful man and such a kind gentleman. And oh my gosh, talk about me getting taken under his wing a little bit. I sent him a cassette tape, back in the day, 2003. And I'm like, hey, let me just try this. Maybe he'd enjoy hearing some of my students. And then he would be like, hey, or I was asking, could we please set up before your performances and then just get like the crowd walking into the performance. And this is a way, again, to market myself and also to get my students to have these wonderful experiences, okay? And then we would get to go to the International Drum Corps competition afterwards, right? I'd buy, group tickets, and parents and students and loved ones would jump on, and we'd all get to enjoy that beautiful show, okay? And if you've ever looked into drum corps competition, please do. Those young men and young ladies are phenomenal musicians. And not only that, they have to be athletic because they carry around like maybe, I don't know, between maybe 30 and 60 pounds of equipment, right? And you're on a big football field doing all of these maneuvers and stuff as you're playing intricate stuff, okay? They practice for like 12, 13 hours a day. I remember some of the young men and women saying that, and how it was like, boy, it has to be perfect because you're getting judged, right? So anyways, so that was all wonderful. And boy, big thanks to Jack for letting that one happen, okay? Just phenomenal. We would then, like I said, perform at other things. We did talent shows. We won talent shows. We would do all kinds of the Erie County Fair performances. We would do different functions and festivals around Buffalo. A lot downtown Buffalo at Canal Side too. Those are some, wonderful experiences again for my students. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're doing here. We would one other thing, we would set up in a U shape. about 5 drum sets, okay? Everybody could kind of see one another, and then I would teach all these kids all of these parts, and then we would individually then have our little shining moment, maybe 8 measures to interpret something different, play it a little different, and then come back to the whole, you know, and make it musical, make it nice, but also then have little spots where I could highlight students, and they could, you know, bring out their creative expression, okay? Which, yeah, if you've been with me, that's all I promote. Okay, I shouldn't say all I promote, but a big chunk of what I do is to try to get students to think like this, okay? Get into that mindset and realize how easily we can create things. Drumming is all mathematics, and that's infinite, okay? Okay, so in the beginning, we have 4 measures, okay? It's very roll-oriented and tom-oriented, okay? We're going to be playing a 17-stroke roll, so try for a rim shot off the end of all the rolls there, okay? Now, one good thing is your feet just end with the roll there, with the last tag note on beat 3, okay? And it'll highlight then what we're going to do on the toms, okay? So measure 1, it'll be a roll all the way to beat 3. So it'll be like 1E and a 1E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3, a 4, and 1E and a 1E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3, a 4, and that's really a quarter note triplet. If you can just feel that without counting 3, and, because that's pretty darn close to the rhythm of that, okay? So if you can feel it just as triplet, that's fine too, okay? 3 notes spread over 2 beats. That's where the notes end up landing, okay? So remember, 1E and a 1E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3. So all of those doubles, so. Okay, just to show you that roll a little bit slower so you can count it out, so you can get it nice and smooth. Now, this is super important that you play a nice, clean, open roll. We don't want that, okay? It's not an orchestral roll or a sloppy roll, okay? This is tough, right? It's hard to play an open, slow roll. Make yourself work on that. Watch your stick height above the snare drum, making sure that, it's not, right? Because we're all us righties. Oh man, we're going to be pounding away on that. What do I do to correct that with students? Make them lead left. Right? And do a bunch of left lead, left end, left lead, left end type of rolls. Strengthen that weaker side, right? Okay, that's a big key to opening up the right brain into our creative side too, right? Okay, so anyways, let's keep going with this. Okay, so we know how to play the first measure. So 4 and 4 and. Let's go to the second measure. Okay, second measure, you just end on the rim shot. E, a 4 and. Okay, so we're adding a 4. Okay, a couple little quick notes. We're still on the and there on the floor tom. Okay, now look at one thing about my drum set. Everything's offset, so I can bring my ride cymbal in closer. Okay, but you on your conventional drum sets, most likely these 2 toms are right over here. Okay, so obviously you're going to be going to your high tom, 1 and doing that when we get into that section. Okay, I cheat a little bit because to me that's kind of like where my high tom would be. Okay, plus I like the sound of that mid tom. Okay, all right. So, anyways, we're going to facilitate that sort of idea. So when you're really playing this, you know, you could be like 3, a 4 and be on the high and the floor, and then 3, a 4 and, rather than how I'm playing it to my mid tom. Okay. All right. So measure 2. Again, stop your feet on that rim shot, okay? Third measure, same as the first. Okay, so that's just like we played in the first measure. 3, a 4, and last measure is kind of like this little kicker into the nice tom-tom work that we do, okay? And then remember, when you're beginning your tom-tom work, you want to start crossed. So have that vision while you're on the 4th beat. so that when you get to the first beat, you're in that right, good positioning for yourself, okay? Let's take a look at the fourth measure there now. So I want you to try for 2 rim shots off of that roll, okay? Into, okay? And you might have to practice, you know. It takes a moment. You know, I play traditional grip, so I can drop it down into that pretty good. You know, for students that are match grip, you know, they might have to work on it a little bit more. I don't know. It might be easier actually for them, okay? All right, so when you come off of that, then I'm going to be 3E, 4, and. So you can just do right, left, right, okay? So charm there. Okay, so try to get all of those rim shots, and yes, that takes time to be consistent with that, okay? Once you're done with that measure, we're into this craziness, okay? And all the tom-tom work. Okay, now really you're going to be like this. Your high tom to your floor tom, and we're going to be beginning a 3 pattern, okay? And I'll play it up here for now so you get the feel of it, but I'm going to come to this because it's a little bit easier for me, okay? So 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. So if you notice, we're playing 1 single note all the time up to the high tom, 1 single note, and we're going to be doing 4 times up there, right, left, and then we're at beat 4, and we can come back to our snare drum and go 4 E and a. Okay, so 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay. So we have 4 3s, 4 times 3, 12 notes. That takes us to beat 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. There's our 12 notes. And then beat 4 is the 4 notes back to the snare drum, okay? Now, once in a while, we would maybe embellish that a little bit, do something a little different on the 4th beat there, okay? And maybe throw in lesson 25, okay? Rather than just 4 E and a, do 4 E and a. So you're doubling the middle, or not the middle, the second note there, okay? The E of 4. 4 E and a, okay? So we could also pull that into play, and that sounds really nice, okay? Off of that, we have to then come back into the rolling and that. So again, kind of pre-thinking, just like we're kind of pre-thinking, oh, how do our hands have to be positioned when we come into the tom-tom work, okay? All right, so now let's go back. I'll play it now in my mid-tom, and now we're going to work in the hi-hat and the bass drum part. Your hi-hat and your bass drum have to stay steady, okay? So we have to think 1 E and up 2 and 1 E and up 2. So kind of know, all right, beat 2. Let me just try to get that far, right? Because this is kind of a complexity because we're polyrhythmic playing, okay? One thing down below does not match what we're playing up above, okay? And that's why it's polyrhythmic, many rhythms, okay? So now we're going to take, we got to beat 2. So 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 1 E and a, 3. See if you can get to beat 3 then. 1 E and a, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a, 2 and 3 and then just, check yourself every time. Go baby steps for yourself, okay? Now let's even get to 4. Maybe if we'll get that lucky, we can do our 4 notes there, okay? So 1 E and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 E and a, 1 and E, 4 E and a. If you notice, I'm pulling out those 1 and E, 4 E and a, right? That's like a 5/4 little polyrhythmic thing too. I could go off on a whole tangent on that too, because that's a wonderful polyrhythm to use in our playing, okay? You will hear it in songs. Many songs are written even around that kind of polyrhythm. Okay, so when we've got all that going, okay, hopefully you feel pretty good. And remember about the 3 pattern, that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, if that's a little easier for you, okay? But again, to get those bass and hi-hat in, we really want to go back into the conventional counting so that we can know, okay, where's the note? And I can be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? All right, so that's it pretty much in a nutshell. You can come up with your own ending. We would just repeat the intro or the rolling part with the tom parts, and then we would come into maybe something like the last measure to go like, which is pretty simple, right? We could get really intense with that, you know, and make it into something better too, okay? So you can surely take and expand upon this. Now look, I didn't go into all of those other beats and all the other stuff that I was kind of fooling around with because the video's over 15 minutes already. So it, you know, and it takes me a little while to go through all of this so that it's fully explained, so that I feel that, hey, I put something out there into the universe and hopefully most people can understand it, okay? All right, everybody, enough blabbing for the day, okay? Thank you so much for all of the support, the likes, the shares, the subs, all greatly appreciated. Okay, everybody, rock on and get that drumming into our lives. Take care.